Hi, fourth graders. This is Miss Day again with your read aloud. Over the next couple weeks, we are going to be reading Holes by Louis Sachar. You might have seen the movie Holes before, or maybe you've seen the book Holes in our library. You are going to be following along with me as I read this chapter book and answering some questions that you are going to tell your teachers. Let's get started. Holes. Part 1. You are entering Camp Green Lake. There is no lake at Camp Green Lake. There once was a very large lake here, the largest lake in Texas. That was over 100 years ago. Now it is just a dry, flat wasteland. There used to be a town of Green Lake as well. The town shriveled and dried up along with the lake and the people who lived there. During the summer, the daytime temperature hovers around 95 degrees in the shade, if you can find any shade. There's not as much shade in a dry, big lake. The only trees are 2 old oaks on the eastern edge of the lake. A hammock is stretched between the 2 trees, and a log cabin stands behind that. The campers are forbidden to lie in the hammock. It belongs to the warden. The warden owns the shade. Out on the lake, rattlesnakes and scorpions find shade under rocks and in the holes dug by the campers. There's a good rule to remember about rattlesnakes and scorpions. If you don't bother them, they won't bother you. Usually. Being bitten by a scorpion or even a rattlesnake is not the worst thing that can happen to you. You won't die. Usually. Sometimes a camper will try to be bitten by a scorpion or even a small rattlesnake. Then he will get to spend a day or 2 recovering in his tent instead of having to dig a hole out on the lake. But you don't want to be bitten by a yellow spotted lizard. That's the worst thing that can happen to you. You will die a slow and painful death. Always. If you get bitten by a yellow spotted lizard, you might as well go into the shade of the oak trees and lie in the hammock. There is nothing anyone can do to you anymore. Chapter 2. The reader is probably asking, why would anyone go to Camp Green Lake? Most campers weren't given a choice. Camp Green Lake is a camp for bad boys. If you take a bad boy and make him dig a hole every day in the hot sun, it will turn him into a good boy. That's what some people thought. Stanley Yelnats was given a choice. The judge said, you may go to jail, or you may go to Camp Green Lake. Stanley was from a poor family. He had never been to camp before. Today we're only going to read the first 2 chapters of Holes, and we're going to be talking about the word irony. Irony is something that authors use to add interesting things to their story. Irony can add interest to the story because the reader is aware of something that the characters aren't. This is what happens in movies or books when you know something the characters don't know. Irony can also mean when something that you expect is going to happen, but actually the opposite happens. Here's a sentence from the text that we just read that shows some irony. There is no lake at Camp Green Lake. What I want you to do is I want you to jot down why the name of the camp, Camp Green Lake, in this story is ironic. Why is that ironic that this name of the camp is called Camp Green Lake? Go ahead and jot it down, and tomorrow we're going to continue with the next couple chapters. See you then.